Hi, everyone. Welcome to another PowerPoint presentation. In this one, I just want to introduce you to the Secretary of Commonwealth and his website, because this is where you would go for all your corporate filing documents and documentation. Now, you can see from the website that I'm on, sec.state.mass.us is up here, that the Secretary of Commonwealth is actually responsible for a number of different areas in Massachusetts. So responsible for elections and voting and the census, also registration of lobbyists, the Massachusetts archives. So there's a lot that falls under this umbrella office of the Secretary of Commonwealth. Also, just so you know, the Secretary himself, this is an elected position. So I believe it's every 4 years he is up for re-election. He's been the Secretary of Commonwealth for a long time. I have no personal opinion about him one way or the other, but it is somebody that you either have voted for before or you will have the opportunity to vote for in a future election unless somebody else runs for the position and you want to vote for that person. I happen to be making this recording in the fall of 2020, so you can see that there's a reminder right on his website to complete your census form. If you're watching this video in a future semester, that may not be there, but I can always update the video. Anyway, the reason I wanted to make this video for you is for 2 reasons. Number one, as we are learning about corporations, it's really important for you to be able to use and find the information on the corporate database. And number two, you will have to come to this website as part of your Create a Business assignment, whether you choose to create your business as a limited liability company or a corporation. So I'm going to show you a little bit about that here. So I'm going to click on this word corporations, and that is going to take us to basically the corporations division within the Secretary of Commonwealth. And again, this is where you will come, despite whatever type of business entity you are, all of the filings and information is here. I also just wanted to take this minute to just remind you, and you can see it just from looking at this website, that corporate law is a matter of state law. So the state that you choose to incorporate in, if it's Massachusetts, this is where you would come for all your paperwork. As referenced in the book, the state that you choose to incorporate in, you are called a domestic corporation for that state. So take something like Dunkin' Donuts, for example. Dunkin' Donuts is incorporated in Massachusetts. That makes it a Massachusetts domestic corporation. We also use the words foreign corporation, but it's not what you think. Normally, we use the word foreign to describe something that is from another country. But in the context of corporations, foreign means foreign corporations are corporations that are registered, or I should say incorporated to do business in other states, but would be doing business here. We refer to them as foreign corporations. You'll see that because we'll have a chance to look and search the corporate database, and you'll see references to foreign corporations and domestic corporations. If you're searching the Massachusetts corporate database and you see domestic corporation, that's your signal that this is a corporation that is incorporated in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. A foreign corporation is a corporation that is incorporated in another state, but is registered to do business here. Okay, before I get to searching the corporate database, let me use this opportunity to tell you how to find the appropriate forms for your homework assignment. So we're going to click here, filings by subject on the left-hand side. You also can search filings by subject down here. It will all take you to the same place, doesn't really matter. But let's start with limited liability company and partnerships. Now, remember, I did tell you that if you are a general partnership, you don't have to complete and file paperwork with the state. That is true. But I want you to see that if you are a limited partnership or a limited liability partnership, because of that limited liability aspect, those entities still do complete state paperwork. But just so you know, that form is not available for your homework assignment. Your project is either limited liability company, S corporation, or C corporation. I want you to stick with one of those, since those are the ones that we've extensively covered in class. So under limited liability company and partnership, you can see we have LLC and we have foreign LLC. For your homework assignment, you should be an LLC. And you can see that you can get all the information and forms, and you can also complete them online. But I'm just going to click on information and forms, and then it'll take you to this website. Feel free to pause the video to read what's here, but I'm not going to take the video time just to read you what's on this website. But you can see, I don't want you to file this online. This is purely made up. Don't actually file to become an LLC. But do you see this one here where it says Certificate of Organization? That's what I want you to click on, Certificate of Organization. And up will pop a PDF form on your computer. Now, what I want you to do for your homework assignment is complete the information in here. You can see that you can type it right in and it should save to your computer, but just make sure, double check that it saves your changes because every once in a while the changes are not saved. So when you submit your homework, I don't want to see a blank document. So take the time to make sure that you can see that. And then you will fill in all this information. Completely make it up. Make up a name, make up an address. I don't need real people. I don't need real information. So if you choose to become an LLC, this is where you will come to get your form. If you don't want to complete it online by typing it in, you can print it out, handwrite it, and then send it to me either by scanning it in or taking a picture with a smartphone and uploading it as a JPEG. I'll take it that way too. As long as I can see it, I'm okay with the format. And just remember, all of this can be uploaded to Blackboard because you can upload multiple links to one homework assignment. So don't send me anything by email. Okay, I'm just going to go back to the main corporation's website for a second. So now we're still within limited liability company, but now let's go to corporation so you can see where to find that. So we're still in filings by subject, and you can see corporations is the first one here. And you are going to choose domestic profit. Obviously, another type of corporation is a non-for-profit corporation like a charity. There's also something called a professional corporation, which is usually a corporation made up of lawyers or accountants would choose to become a professional corporation. But if you just go to domestic profit and click on forms, now take a minute when you're here to fully appreciate the breadth of forms that are here. I'm just going to scroll down so you can see. Look on the right-hand column, all the different forms that are available for corporations. Remember, we talked about how complicated corporations are. You can see that there's a lot of forms to make sure that you complete. Isn't this very different from the general partnership or the sole proprietorship where you don't have to do any of this stuff? And what's the price that you get, you pay, and you get that limited liability. Totally worth it. Okay, I'm going to click on forms. Remember, we talked about a charter on the video, or if you're watching this before you've had a chance, every corporation creates a charter. And sometimes in some states, the charter is called articles of organization or articles of incorporation. In Massachusetts, you can see that we don't call it a charter. We call it articles of organization. So we're going to click on forms and voila, same idea is here. A form for you to complete for the creation of your own business. Now, if you choose corporation, whether it be C corporation or S corporation, this form is the same. There's not a separate form for each corporation. It does say, of course, this has to be typed. I am completely fine if you want to print it out and handwrite it, so long as you complete it for the assignment. Okay. So let me just jump back to the main website just one more time because I thought I'd just leave you with something fun. When you are in corporations, you can search the corporate database. I'm going to go down here and you can search any corporation that you want by name, and it will tell you all the information that we've talked about in the PowerPoints in week 6. You will find the name of the corporation, you will find the officers in the corporation, the address of the corporation, how about the registered agent, and you will even be able to find information on the number of shares that are issued, and you will find out whether it is a foreign or domestic corporation. Now, before you do any of these on your own, keep in mind that a number of very large corporations, including Massachusetts ones, have a lot of subsidiaries and separate companies that are affiliated with it. So if you search, for example, Gillette, as in Gillette Stadium and the shaving company, you're going to get a lot of hits here. So just be prepared for that. If you choose a smaller corporation that might only have one entity, you won't have as much information. All right, so I thought I'd take this opportunity to just show you a quick corporate search, and then I encourage you to just think of any business that you know in your local town, in your local community, or something very large, and give it a search. If it doesn't come up here, it may not be a corporation. It could be a limited liability company or something else. But I'm just going to go with one that I know is a Massachusetts corporation. And I happen to know that it has all the information here. So I don't know about you guys, but I love these pita chips they sell in the grocery store called Stacy's Pita Chips. Turns out it's from Massachusetts. So we put in Stacy's Pita and we click search corporations. And here it is, Stacy's Pita Chip Incorporated. So we can click on that and take a look. And I'll scroll down to show you what's here. But you can see that it's given an ID number. You can see the exact name of the corporation. Something I forgot to mention on my PowerPoint about incorporating and choosing your business name is that the formal business name has to include the name incorporated or corporation in its formal title, even if you don't use that name generally. You can see what type of entity it is. It is a domestic profit corporation. That is a signal to you that Stacy's Pita Chips is incorporated in Massachusetts. You can see the principal office, which is its main headquarters. So just because you choose Massachusetts for your place of incorporation doesn't mean you have to have your actual headquarters in that state. Those could be in 2 different states. You can see the name and address of the registered agent. This is actually a company that serves as registered agents. So if you had to send any legal documentation to Stacy's Pita Chips, you would send it to this name and address. And then look at this, you can actually see the names of the officers and directors of the corporation. And you can see that they're even listed here. It's kind of cool that there's directors of the corporation include individuals from Frito-Lay. So you can see that these are really important roles and they're part of creating the corporation. And all of this is publicly available information for every single corporation. Why do we demand this of corporations? Because we give them limited liability. And the state says, here, folks, if you're going to run a company and you're going to make your owners' personal bank accounts immune from lawsuits, you better pony up this information so we know how to find you and we're going to keep track of you. This is the price that corporations pay. So take a look, scroll down, and then lastly, you can see the number of shares that are issued as well. And you can actually look up a number of their other filings. So take a look, play with this for a little bit. You can search up, for just before doing this, I looked up iRobot, the really cool company that's right near our campus. And you can search iRobot. Again, there's a number of other companies that are related to it, but you can see just by way of comparison, just so I can show you before I end the video, notice that iRobot is a foreign corporation. And where is it incorporated? If you guessed Delaware, you are right. You can see here that it is organized under the laws of the state of Delaware. So I know we sometimes think of iRobot as being a local company, and it is a local company. It just happens to be incorporated in Delaware because of the laws of Delaware being so favorable. So you can see same information is provided. The CT Corporation System is their registered agent, and here are their officers and directors. So we get a lot of the same information. Play around with it, do some new searches. It's kind of fun to look at. So that's a little bit about the corporation's website, the corporation's division's website, but also the Secretary of Commonwealth. Please email me with any questions about finding the correct form. Do you have the correct form? And if you have any questions about filling it out, but just make up the information there. You can just choose your siblings' names or your best friends' names or just Fred Flintstone if you'd prefer that, or Bart Simpson. All right. Let me know if you have any questions about this website.